This guy is a PR walking disaster. I would hate to be the lady that's in charge of making this person look presentable to the public. In fact, I wish I could have some beer with that lady just to ask her how she's feeling. I'm pretty sure she may need some highly trained psychologist to fix her after doing this very difficult job. So, what did Hari do this time, right? Because every time he comes out in the spotlight, the media makes fun of him. Well, apparently the Daily Mail points out that in his new book, he talks about how he killed 25 people. and apparently, the reason he had to make it public isn't to bring sales to his book. No. It's for his own healing. Right? Now, this astonished, apparently, diplomats, other military people, pilots, aid workers. All of them were astonished by pointing out how dumb Hari is, because he just gave the Taliban probably the best propaganda that they would have asked for. I mean, look, I understand that the royalty in the UK is more ceremonial and is not political, but people from abroad, like the Taliban, they still view him as a political figure. Like, in their mind, when you say Prince Hari, it's almost like it's connected to the British Empire, right? From their point of view. So when he goes on and talks about how he killed people, that's propaganda that you're giving to the Taliban. To sell your book, I suppose. Right, so I understand that being a soldier is a difficult job. And part of that job is to take out the enemy. We as a society like to hide that fact. We don't call it an attack force. We call it a defense force. Right? Like, they're not going to attack people. They're going to protect our liberty. Even though their country is halfway across the world. Right? It's not a weaponry, it's an armory. So, society culturally tries to hide the fact that the role of a soldier is indeed to go into another place and take out the enemy. But soldiers do not talk about this in public. Did you notice that? I mean, I don't have a doctor in a lab coat to run a study, to give you the polls and the survey, but I did speak with many of my subscribers who happen to be soldiers, some of them even veterans, and have seen combat, and they don't talk about this shit. The only time they do talk about it is if you actually become a close friend to them, and they get into the story, and you keep asking them, and eventually they will tell you, but they tell you in a very respectable manner. They usually don't even give you a number. You know, they will say, oh, well, unless the number is very low, right? So it's like, oh, I had to kill one person, or I had to kill two. But they don't go like, I had to kill 25. It's not common decorum. And definitely it's not common decorum to write it in a book that you charge people money, and then you leak some of these juicy stories to the public. And then, in order to defend himself, he says that, well, this was his way of healing. I guess it's kind of like in the video games, right? When you get the Bloodthirster sword, and it does life leeching. Like, you cause DPS, but it heals you in return. Apparently, him talking about it is what he calls healing. And I do understand, you know, you don't have to keep these things bottled up, but you're a rich person, you can afford a psychiatrist, you can afford a psychologist, you can afford some friends, can't you, Harry? Like, get some friends, take them to a pint, or whatever you royals do. Or talk about it with your wife, with your family, if you still have relationships with your family after bad-mouthing them on every occasion. Right? That's how you handle it. You don't put it in a book that's available even for the Taliban to read. I mean, right, like, imagine just what good propaganda you gave them. So, people are being dismayed. I like the fact that the Daily Mail is making fun of this photo. Apparently, they're saying it's photoshopped because his eyes look a lot more bluer and his hair seems to be edited. And I'm like, who cares? I mean, he's got a team of highly trained professionals in order to make him look good. That's the whole point. However, you can make him look as good as you want, but then he starts opening his mouth, and that's the problem. That's when the public just loses touch with him. Because he's so fucking out of touch with the public, it's astonishing. So apparently, like, when he did this, he was driving an Apache helicopter. And he opened fire, killed 25 fighters. And apparently this is his healing journey, where he couldn't be silenced anymore. And he had to talk about it. You know, like, I'm looking at these elites, and there is this ideology of the elites that everyone, like every human being, in order to be perfect, has to have compassion. Like, the more compassion and empathy you have for other human beings, the better, right? So this is how we measure human beings now. Not by achievements. Like, this guy isn't good because he discovered penicillin. No, this guy is good because he's so fucking empathetic and he cares about all of the issues. That's how we judge people in society now, right? So this is what the elites tell themselves. They lie themselves about it. And then they expect that when they go out in public and say something like this, they expect that everyone is going to have compassion and empathy towards them. I don't know, Hari. Alright, I know that the far left says that, well, because he's a cisgender straight white man and I'm a cisgender straight white man, we have this connection. We got this Bluetooth in our penis and then we are vibing with each other and we're creating the patriarchy to oppress Meghan. But no, okay? His royalty, completely different life experiences than I. And you can't expect the same relationship that you have with the person that you actually know and you sit face to face and they tell you about the horrors of war. You can't have the same relationship with someone that acts like a twat most of the time, cries about his family nonstop, and then drops something like this in a book that he wants you to pay money for. Of course the public isn't going to like that. And apparently the media doesn't like it either. And he goes on and he tries to cope and says this is something every soldier has to confront, and he talked with other veterans. And yeah, sure, you talked to them face to face, they didn't write a book about it. And by the way, like, writing a book about it, it also depends. Like, if you're just some average Joe that served in the military and you want to write a book, that's fine. But when you're a person related to the royals, or if you're like a high-ranking general or, you know, someone of renown, like the president of the United States, and you start writing about how many people you killed when you were deployed, you're creating propaganda for the enemy, right? You're making the life of other soldiers miserable. That's what you're doing. This is why people are upset, just to be clear. And as you can see, when you go down into the comment section, because the Daily Mail, this is why I respect it as a newspaper, it actually has comments open. Comments below have not been moderated. Oh my god. It's like 2016 internet. This is what a respectable publication looks like. It has comments open. I don't care about what they're writing in the article. I can just go down and I can see what Lorraine has to talk about. And apparently look at the what people are saying. Nonsense, Hari. You reveal this in order to try and secure more book sales. Well, I guess a cynical person thinks like an Eastern European. Since when it become okay to risk the lives of others in order to heal yourself? Usual tosh and non-accountability. Hari, that's what therapists are for. Why do you have to write it in a book for millions across the globe to read? Real soldiers don't. It's embarrassing. See, I didn't read the comments, but these were my takes from the article. And it's so refreshing to see that you have other people that have exactly your takes. This is why they disabled the comments, right? Because the way it's supposed to work, you're reading the article and you're having these takes. And they seem mean-spirited. They seem naughty takes. Like, why are you thinking like this? And you get to feel isolated and alone, like you're the problem. But when you have comments, you go down into the comment section and you see that a lot of people think like you. And you're actually part of the majority. And this is why the comments have disabilities all across the internet. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section, which does not have disabilities. Take care.